Okay, 2.11, this is just some review. Solve with no calculator, and I'm going to put use your number line. So our first problem, we have -8 plus 2. Okay, so -8's my starting number. After it I have plus, so with plus I'm ready to go on my number line. So I'm at -8, okay? And the 2 is positive, so I move 2 forward, 1, 2. That would be -6. Okay, next one, we have -3 plus -7. Okay, so I start at -3, and then after it is a plus, so that's good. I'm adding a negative, so I'm going to move to the left. Okay, here I'm adding a positive, so I move to the right 2. Okay, so -3 plus -7, -3 backwards 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, that's -10. Okay, next one, 5 minus 9. So we know we're starting at 5, but here's a problem. I don't like that minus, okay? So I'm going to make a wall after the minus. I make it plus, and the opposite of positive 9 is -9. You just go plus and make your 9 a negative. So that means if 9's negative, we're going to move to the left. So I start at 5 and go left 9. So 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So that's -4. Okay, next problem. 2 minus -3. So I know I'm starting at 2, positive 2, okay? But we have a minus, okay? So we make it plus, but if the negative's already there, then that goes plus, okay? You make it opposite. So that 3 is positive, so we're going to go to the right 3 from the 2, which is really easy. It's just 2, 3, 4, 5, okay? Okay, next one, -4 plus 2. So you start at -4, okay? And we have our plus sign, and the 2 is positive, so I'm going to the right. So -4 plus 2, 1, 2, that would be -2. Okay, -4 plus 7, we would start at -4. And I have a plus after it, so I don't need to change the problem like I am when there's a minus. There's a plus after it, and the 7 is positive, okay? So we're going to the right 7. Ought to push me into the positives. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So that's 3. Okay, so there's that. Now the next directions, it says substitute, then evaluate. Okay, we have 6x plus xy. X equals -4, y equals 3. Now, first off, I put the operators in. 6 and x is times. Between x and x I have a plus. Between x and x I have nothing, so that's a times. Okay. Then parenthesize your variables, because you can now replace those. So we have 6 times parentheses plus parentheses times parentheses. So x, we are going to put -4 in for x. Then the x again, so I'm going to put -4 in for it. And then the y, I'm going to put 3. Alright, now, you're going to want to circle that plus right there in the middle, because this and this is times, okay? This and this is times. And we have plus right there, okay? So again, you want to circle your adding and subtracting. That's the first thing in a parenthesis, so that's a negative. It does not adding and subtracting, okay? That's not at the beginning of a parenthesis, so you circle that. That's not a positive. That actually means you're going to add, okay? That sign's the first sign in the parentheses, so it means a -4, and then so forth. Okay, now I do my order of operations. You have parentheses, but there's just one number inside of each one, so that's already done. Multiplication, well, the dot means that's where you multiply, okay? So we drop that plus down, and then I take 6 times -4, that'd be -24, and then we take -4 times 3, that's going to be -12. So the multiplying's done. There's no division. Then adding, well, we have to add the numbers. You can use a calculator on this part. So -24 plus -12 is -36. Okay, next problem. -4x minus xy. X equals -4, y equals 2. So we need to first apply the operators. So that means -4 times x. Then we have minus, but I'm not going to change a minus right now because I don't know. I'm going to put a number in for x. Okay, and x times y times. So parenthesize your variables. Now empty the parentheses. Okay. So x, you're going to put -4 in. X, you're going to put -4 in. Y, you're going to put 2 in. Now, at this point in the problem, we need to pay attention to what's a negative and a positive and what's a plus and a minus. That's at the beginning of the problem, it's a negative, it's not an operation. That's at the beginning of a parentheses, it's a negative, it's not an operation. This right here is not at the beginning of the problem. It is not at the beginning of a parentheses. That's a minus, okay? So since I know that's a minus, okay, that's what we're going to drop down. That's a negative. It's at the beginning of the parentheses, and there's no negative there. Okay? So again, that's a subtraction right there. These are not subtractions. They're either at the beginning of the problem or at the beginning of a parentheses. Okay. Okay, now P, there's parentheses, but there's just one number inside. We don't have to worry about that. Multiplication. Okay. -4 times -4 is positive 16. And then over here you got multiplication. -4 times -2 is -8. Division, there is none. Addition, well, we're going to make that subtraction into an addition, okay? We're going to make that plus, and then the number after it changes into the opposite, so plus. So 16 plus 8 is 24. Again, really when you substitute, you really need to circle the adding and subtracting so you don't get it confused with the positives and the negatives, okay? So I circled that because I know that's a subtraction. So I dropped it, and then I found the products on each side. And then I eventually replaced it. So that's how you're going to do it when there's a replacement. Simplify. -4x plus 6 minus 2y plus 7x minus 10. So what are your operators here? That means 4 times x. That's x plus 6. 6 minus 2. So 2 times y. Y plus 7. 7 times y. X minus 10. So if there's not an operator, I just added a dot, so I knew that was multiplication. Now we are not going to be substituting because I'm not given any replacements. So I do parentheses, don't have any. Multiplication. Well, you have it here, here, and here, but it's all by letters, and I'm not going to replace the letters. Okay, we can't put anything in for it. So there's no multiplication. No division. And then adding, subtracting. Where you have the minuses, you need to fix those. Okay, so That's a minus plus negative. That's a minus plus negative. I'm going to write that so it's all addition. Now let's add, but we can't add the whole thing together. We need to write our letter x down and circle the numbers multiplying by x. Those are the ones we add. So negative 4 plus 7, that's 3. Now there's another letter, a y. What number's multiplied by y? Just the negative 2, so negative 2. Then I write plus again. What numbers do I have that are not multiplied by any letter? The 6 and the negative 10, so I add those. 6 plus negative 10 is negative 4. And that's simplified. I've ran through all the operations. Okay, next one, negative 3, parentheses 4x minus 2. So we apply operators. Times, minus 2. Okay, we'll want to fix a minus sign, because if I'm not going to replace the variables, okay, that's not a minus sign, that's at the beginning. That is a minus sign, it's not at the beginning of the parentheses, so I make it plus and then negative 2. So parentheses, you have some, but you can't do anything about it. Multiplication, well, we got 4 times x inside, we can't do that, but I can take the negative 3 into the parentheses, okay? So I make 2 times dots. I've got negative 3 in front of both of them. And then I'm going to do 4 times x. And then I'm going to take it times the negative 2. So negative 3 times 4 is negative 12 with x. Negative 3 times negative 2 is positive 6. Now I just drop that plus down because that's what goes between them. Okay. Negative 3 times 4 is negative 12 with x. Negative 3 times negative 2 is 6. That plus sign just drops down. So multiplication's been done. There's no division. Adding I can't do. Okay. I have an x and a non-x, so that adding we forget about. That's what you have. Okay. Next problem. Negative 2. Parentheses 2x minus 4 plus 14x. Okay, so let's put operators in. Times, that's not an operator, that's at the beginning of there, so negative 2 times the parentheses 2 times x minus 4, okay? So I'm going to make that plus negative 4 plus 14x, so it's 14 times x. Now I go into my operations. I don't need to worry about the s because I took away the subtraction. I went plus negative on it. Okay. So parentheses, within the parentheses, you have an x, so you can't do anything about it. Multiplication, well, 14 times x, can't do that. 2 times x, can't do that because I don't know what x is. I could if I knew what x is, but I can take the negative 2 into the parentheses. Plus sign kind of separates it. So that's 2 multiplications I have to do. Negative 2, so I have negative 2 times 2 times x, and negative 2, after the plus sign you got your negative 4. So negative 2 times 2 is negative 4 with x, negative 2 times negative 4 is 8. So I drop the plus sign, because that just goes straight down. On one side I've got negative 4x, and on the other side we have 8. Now, there's still this plus 14 times x we have, okay? So the multiplication's been done. There's no division. Now addition. We have 3 numbers here. What 2 numbers are multiplied by x? Because we can add those. We can plus those. Negative 4 plus 14. That's 10, so 10x. And then what number is not multiplied by x? 8, so plus 8. So I've added what I can. I can't add the whole thing, but I can only add the like terms. 10x plus 8. Okay, then the final problem. 21x minus 14, 7. Okay, so put the operators in. Times x minus 14, that would become a plus negative 14, and then divided by 7. So parentheses, I don't have any multiplication. 21 times x, but I don't know that. Division, yes, I do have a division. Yes, I can divide because we know what's on the bottom. Okay, anytime you know what's on the bottom, you can divide. You're just going to have to divide twice. Okay, the plus breaks it up. So divide by 7. So you got 21 with its times x, and then you got negative 14. So 21 divided by 7 is 3 with its x. Negative 14 divided by 7 is negative 2. That will not have the x. So I drop the plus sign, and this is what I have. I have 3x, negative 2. And then addition, well, that's multiplied by x. That's not, okay? That's addition.